Welcome to our next video.
Going local, you know, it's what we do.
Yep.
So see that red door? It's some guys. We gotta watch the video to find out where we were.
Tune in.
Again in Hilliard. And do you want to introduce yourself and say where we are?
My name's Kranyik and I. My husband and I own Coffee Connections. It's right downtown in Old Hilliard.
It's a really great place. You guys will
It's
have
such
to
a
check
cute
this
spot.
out.
It's like a house, basically. It is just a house, and so it's filled with all these different rooms that you can sit and chat, and really comfy spaces, which you saw on the tour. But so, how long have you guys been in business?
Only 18 months. We opened in the fall of 2016, so September.
So
2 years.
I think you guys have a really interesting story of how it all started. Do you want to give everyone a background on it?
Sure. So
Amanda doesn't know either.
I don't.
I've only told her tidbits, so go ahead. You'll learn.
So my husband and I, we've lived around a lot of different places, but we came directly from Philadelphia, and he was a kids pastor. And we moved specifically to Hilliard, Ohio. We felt like God kind of just opened the door for this city because we had this vision to have a place where people could come and connect.
Come
And
on.
Speaking of him, he got here.
Here's the husband. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure, my name is Nate.
Hey, Nate.
I am the husband.
The husband is here.
Husband
Yes.
owner.
Yes.
So we were just talking about your story and
Yes.
how you became here. Amanda doesn't know, and just so everyone.
Yeah, sure, go ahead. Continue.
So we really felt like God wanted us to have a place where people could come and connect, especially with kids, because now we have 4 children. There are 4 girls. They're 8, 6, 4, and 2, and all kinds of crazy. But we just really wanted to use coffee as that venue because it's really hard to get to know people and bring them into your house, like if you meet them at the park or wherever. And we just really want to be a place that can do that. And so we wanted to have that space and then also be a force that served the community. So our tagline is love your neighbor, serve your city. And we really try to do that with everything we do.
Yeah, and there's a ton of seating here, so I think that you can have, you can have a big group of people, or you can have the little small conversations. I mean, there's upstairs, downstairs, outside.
The kids' play area.
Yeah, and then the secret. I don't know. Someone told me
Yes,
it's a
the
secret
secret,
space.
yeah,
It's not
secret
secret.
space.
I have it there. You
No,
just
you
have to
can't.
walk in. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I've met people there before too, and it's just nice, quiet.
Yeah, this would be a
space.
good place to.
And you can even rent it out for birthday parties or
Oh, can you?
functions.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those spaces where people don't want other people to know it's there. Because they're like, we don't want anybody to know this is our private area.
Well, now it's out.
We-
Sorry.
we just-
Everyone knows
Sorry.
now. Sorry.
Over.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Ruined that for everybody.
We got a review last week. Somebody just saying, they sent us an email just thanking us because we had a great time with their party. And she's like, I really just don't want to tell anybody so I can keep it all to myself.
You used to have a cart
Yes.
as well.
Yes, it's being fixed right now, but it was a coffee cart. We got that a couple of years ago, and the theory of that was to go to around town in Hilliard and just sell coffee off the cart.
Well, you know, my
So,
friend
which was really nice.
used to seek you out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she would. She would sit, like, I don't know, did you put it on Facebook?
We
or
had
you
a Facebook, we had Street Food Finder, which is like an app that people can download, and then it tells you where all these food trucks were that were part of the COFTA Association. And so anywhere within the Columbus area, you know exactly, even beyond that, you know exactly where that food truck is going to be in that certain spot. So we were one of the first 2 coffee vendors on Street Food Finder. There was another guy that was doing one, and but we were like the first like push cart one, and so that was actual vehicle
It's
itself.
actually a bicycle
So
attached to a car.
yeah.
Okay,
It's a
okay.
single wheel in the back that's got a motor, and it's self-propelled, and then it's got 2 wheels in the front, and basically a box.
And you just serve coffee out of it.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a glorified counter, basically, was what it is.
And Keisha said it was the best coffee ever. Like,
It's good.
literally, she would seek
Yeah.
you out
Cool.
to go get that coffee.
Which that's directly how we landed here. The splash pad had opened across the street and we won the bid for that. And then this used to be Solar Cafe. So Nate wanted to not create problems with different business members in the community. So he just came and introduced himself, and then Tom offered to sell us the business.
Yes. They, I remember Solar Cafe that was here. And, you know, this downtown area is growing so much, and it's so fantastic. And it just desperately needed you guys here. Like,
Thanks.
you know, this kind of venue where you can come and just
And
Connect, exactly.
Hilliard's one of those spaces, because of our background with working with families and kids, we knew coffee and the kids had to be a connecting component somehow. And it was hard to find that same atmosphere in the different parts of Columbus, and Hilliard was one of those spots that just seemed like this fit. And so the idea of coffee and kids and families all working together seemed to really work really well in this community, which is why the Splash Pad, when that
Yeah.
opened, we were like, this is meant to
Boom.
be, this
Yeah.
is what's supposed to happen. And then when this space opened up to us, we wanted a kid space, and we were thinking about putting it on the second floor up here. But we were like, that's going to be too noisy. And Tom's
Yeah,
like, well, let me show you the building behind us. And we didn't even know it was there. Like most people don't even know the building's there.
secret.
It's a secret. No one knows. I walked back there, and it was just an artist studio. And so there was paints and stuff like all in
Yeah.
place. And looking, I'm like, this is perfect because it's separated from the main house. So you can, the kids can be noisy back there, but you can still have your quiet space, your meetings, wherever you're reading, wherever you want to hear. But allowing it to have the family friendliness of it, of what Hilliard is.
Yes.
It greatly increases the amount of reach that we can have, instead of most places are kind of, you don't, if you have kids you can come, but it's not really like, oh yeah, it's nice, whatever. But a lot of it is for quiet reading, kids, people with kids on both either end of the spectrum of their life.
Yeah.
So the demographic is very narrow. So for us to allow kids to be in here and families to welcome here, it just grows.
People are
massively.
crying out for it.
Exactly.
I mean, truly.
Quickly. Yeah.
Kids aren't welcome in most places.
Yeah, they're not.
They are here, and you will
And they are here.
find one of ours behind the bar. So
Yeah.
And then it's nice too, because if you're coming in for a meeting or something, you still have a space that you could
Right.
have, like a private.
And we have like little, like here we have like little books here for kids. There's little games, and upstairs is a room that has like some books and little toys and that sort of thing. And the back building's being used, so I mean, you'll find little stuff around here. It's life, it's family.
It is, absolutely.
And you guys pair with local businesses and have donuts every day.
we have 12. We're partnered with 12 local businesses
Wow.
here. So we partner with Little Donut Factory for our donuts every day. Corey's Confections, she does all of our scones, coffees, cake, cookies, biscottis. We have allergen-friendly treats and energy bites, and then we partnered with Tim Hoffman at the Coffee Mess. He actually started his Ohio roaster in our basement, and then we roast our coffee in partnership with him.
That's awesome.
And there's a whole bunch more.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah,
have like
right.
candles and wood art all around the wall. And different
Yeah, and you
like
guys saw
jewelry
that
and
in the
stuff
tour
like that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just such a cute space. it's so cozy and friendly.
Got a good vibe going.
Yeah.
Gotta say.
Yeah, so
for sure.
definitely a
Yeah.
good place to check out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any events coming up you'd like to?
We always have.
Always events. So
Facebook
do,
is our main
Facebook
driving
page.
force
Okay.
of how we do
We'll have-
everything.
What's
we'll
the
share
name?
that.
It's just Coffee Connections?
Yeah.
Okay.
Coffee Connections of Hilliard.
Okay.
Like the page, share the page, and
Yeah.
watch their events on
It'll be
Facebook.
tagged in the videos. so.
Yes.
And so just like, for example, on May 12th, we've got the waffle bar. We do a waffle bar once a month. So, and we also do lots of fundraisers. There's just, again,
Yeah.
we start from scratch.
Yeah.
We're also selling popsicles because the Splash Pad is opening next week. So, those here.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. So just keeping local and
Yes. Yeah, a lot of it's local. And we're experimenting with an idea called Sip and Shop, and it's where we're pretty much maxed out the amount of vendors we can have in our space here.
Sure.
So the idea is having like almost like a mini farmers market here in our space,
Oh, nice.
where someone is either they have like let's say they work somewhere else and they you're making something that you want to sell. Like I met someone today at a catering event at a school, and she does her own makeup. But she's been trying to find a place to sell her makeup, doesn't have it. And I was like, oh, well, we're doing these sip and shop things. Here's my wife's number. Here's her email address. Reach out. Next time we have the next one, we can put you on the list. You can come and start selling things.
Yeah.
So hopefully allowing more local people to start using our space to kind of build their what they would. Sure.
Why Hilliard?
I think they found, since we've gotten to Hilliard, is that it is a family-friendly community. It's almost like that small town Ohio vibe with all of the awesomeness of being next to the big city like Target.
Yeah.
I grew up in a small town of less than 2,000 people where we didn't even have a grocery store, but everybody knew your name. Well, here, like once you get into your elementary school, everybody does know your name, and they watch out for each other, and your neighbors are nice, and it's just an awesome community.
Absolutely.
I just love being here. It's been wonderful. We've lived here for 5 years.
Yeah, in Hilliard.
Yeah. It's been
We've been here a lot.
reason why.
So,
All right, so
so now here's the real
here's the real reason why, because I'm the one on the call and all that stuff. This is the real reason why. So when we drove, we met somebody down on Hilliard Road at a restaurant down there. Met there. We literally drove through Old Hilliard here, knew nothing about this. As we were driving out, it was raining, and we're like, oh, this is a cute little town. It's too bad we weren't called to be here. We just kept going because we had no idea where we were at. About a month later, we went to a coffee shop in Washington, D.C. called Ebenezer's, and we met with a coffee house, the manager there at that coffee house. And because what she was doing, what they were doing is very similar to what we wanted to do, so we're like, hey, let's sit down and talk to them. Sit down. The very first question out of her mouth was, where do you want this to be? And we're like, well, we just got back from this little town in Ohio. Maybe I think it's called Hilliard at the time. We didn't know correctly how to pronounce the name Hilliard. Yeah, exactly. Hilliard was the name. And she's like, oh no, Hilliard. And I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, I lived there for 4 years. I worked at the Starbucks on Bethel Road. If you need a job at Starbucks, let me know, which was a huge thing that I needed because I'm like, I need to know the large corporation side of it.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, that'd be great. This idea would work really good in Hilliard. And we're just like, just met you. You knew nothing about who I was, and you happened to live in the town that we just drove through. So that was crazy. So then we moved over to her parents up in Toledo. I was working at the YMCA in Hilliard right down here. So it's like a 3-hour drive. I was working for 6 months, made that drive for 6 months.
Wow.
And I was staying with my sister up in Polaris, and we were messing around with a name. What should we name this business? We need a couple of things. And so we thought Coffee and Connections, let's use those two words together. So I just Googled it, Coffee Connections, you don't want to get sued when you make a name, great, we're going to get sued, and there goes our whole life. And looked that up, and the only thing that came up was a coffee house in West LA. And it was called Coffee Connections. I was like, oh man. So I clicked on the website, looked at it, and then I noticed the name on the website was West LA Cafe. And I was like, okay, this is confusing. Is it West LA Cafe or Coffee Connections? Can I take the name? Looking through the website, it had multiple kids spaces, multiple meeting spaces. It had a massive area, like an auditorium, everything that we were thinking and dreaming. This was it. Like, I'm going to call the guy and see, how did you start? How did this all happen? Called the guy. He was like, I was like, it looks like you got this whole setup, this everything that we were looking for. How did it start? He's like, well, I didn't start it. Technically, the pastor who opened up this church and this cafe thing, he wanted to as a connecting piece into the community. And so he opened up a coffee house, but also provided a kids space as well years ago, part of the Vineyard Church. And I was like, and he's like, so I came on as the new guy to kind of help with the marketing and all the different things. And and I was like, well, that's amazing. And he was like, so what are you thinking about doing? And I was like, well, we're thinking about doing a coffee shop maybe somewhere in Ohio. And right now we're kind of fooling around with Hilliard. He was like, that's amazing. I grew up in Powell. This would be a great spot for it. I'm like, what are the chances 2 different people on 2 different sides of the U.S. both know something of this area that said this area is perfect for what you wanted to do? And at that point, we knew exactly this is where we need to be. We need to be in here. Felt good about it.
Nice that they shared that information with you.
Yeah, it was great. And at that moment, I realized the coffee community was very open-handed.
Yeah.
They weren't closed-handed. It's about my business, my trade, my whatever. It's like, no, what can we do to help you? Hey, let's partner. Let's do this. Let's share information. Coffee industry through the years has always been an open-handed industry.
So, do you guys have a website?
That is, yes.
In the
yes,
works?
yes. It's coffeeconnections.com, coffeeconnectionsofhilliard.com.
Okay.
And it should all be redone at this point. So by the time
We got
you
hacked.
do this,
by
the time you post this,
Yeah.
everything should be absolutely
But
fine.
you mostly do
But
everything
Facebook
with the
is the way
page.
to check
Facebook is
Facebook
where
page.
they live
The
and breathe.
website pretty much
Okay.
at this point
Yeah.
is just
redirection.
is redirecting
Yeah,
you to
I mean,
different things. For it to
Everybody's
go.
on Facebook. I mean, that's
It's easier.
the number one thing.
So Facebook's the way to do it, but we're up to Instagram,
Yes.
Twitter.
Twitter.
I think that's
No,
it.
not really.
We're on Instagram,
Yeah.
Twitter, and Facebook, and then we do have a website, but it's
Under
It
construction.
should be,
Yeah,
it
that's
should
the
be
very
done
fun.
by the time you, whenever you're at this
Okay.
posted.
Perfect.
Anything else you guys would like to promote or talk about, or?
Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah,
and doing
thank
this.
you.
I
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Really, it's such a
Love it.